first topic was inspired by an article in Refinery 29. The writer says that for many Black people, Black History Month brings on so many emotions. And they
Mm.
say that, this year for Black History Month, it should be a month of celebration. Are
Hmm.
you celebrating observing Black History Month differently this year?
Mm. You know, I certainly think that Black History Month is something that we need to acknowledge. We need to celebrate it. We need to reflect on it. But the truth of the matter is, if we really want to pay the ultimate of respect to those heroes and sheroes that we think about during Black History Month, we have to also take time to reflect on Black lives today and to think about the social conditions that we have to create to ensure that Black futures are also stable. So, I think about our essential workers, during a time like this with COVID-19. And I think about all of the
Yeah.
PSWs who are predominantly Black and Indigenous and other, women of color. And I think about the ways that we need to ensure that they are safe, that their workers' rights are maintained. I think about all of the youth that are our future leaders, and frankly, our current leaders, and how important it is for them to see representation. Like myself, for instance, as a Black queer MPP, sitting at Queen's Park, sitting in politics, anywhere around our nation.
I have to agree with a lot of what Dr. Andrew said. And whenever people ask me, do we still need a Black History Month? And I would never want to disrespect the work of the Honorable Jean Augustine, who single-handedly made Black History Month a reality in Canada. I think the thing that bothers me is that Black history is history, and what we need to be addressing is why it's not taught in classes. A few
Hmm.
months ago, when Joe Biden announced that his running mate would be Kamala Harris, a lot of Canadians were like, oh, this is great, this is great. But just last summer, there were two Black women who were making moves in Canada, Dr. Lainey Lui and Annamie Paul. They were both running for leadership for federal parties. And we didn't really celebrate them in the same way as we did with Kamala Harris. We saw a lot of articles, anyone trying to make a little connection to Kamala Harris in Canada. We're spending lots of hours talking about that. And Annamie Paul and Dr. Lainey Lui, what they were doing was incredible. Dr. Lewis actually was the first Black person to run for leadership of the Conservative Party. That is big. And when I was researching, because I ended up writing an article about that, when I was researching about it, I found out about this incredible other woman, Rosemary Brown, who 40 years ago almost she made history too. She became second in the NDP leadership, only behind Ed Broadbent. So we need to talk about the history that's happening
Wow.
now, like Dr. Andrew said,
Yes.
and
Yes.
also celebrate the people. It shouldn't be separate. And I think, Mel, you mentioned something like that around earlier this week. And the other thing that I want to point out is that Black people are not a monolith. I'm from East
No, we are
Africa, so
not.
my
Mhm.
history is it's very different
Mhm.
from Dr. Andrew, from people from the Caribbean, from people from Canada. And so I think when we do talk about this month, we need to just ask, why is this history not taught as part of history? Because there are a lot of Black people, a lot of people of African descent who have contributed to society and who we benefit from. We benefit from that genius. And as a society, we lose because we are not celebrating or acknowledging that genius. It
Mhm.
is there.
I would agree with everything that Nam has said. And this is why it's so important that we continue to celebrate and acknowledge Black History Month. But we also have to realize that there are Black people who are leaders, who are advocates, who are everyday people who may not be politicians. They may not be on television. They may not be doctors and lawyers, but they are equally to be acknowledged and celebrated and advocated for. For myself, sitting as a member of the official opposition for Ontario's NDP and being one of the founding members of Ontario's first Black caucus in Ontario's history. I mean, this is certainly something that is history making, certainly, but this is something that kids are going to be able to reflect on, in the future and say, hey, I can be there too. the issues that matter to me in my community, at my schools, in my home, are important enough for me to champion them all the way to maybe becoming a politician one day, or maybe becoming a teacher or a child and youth worker. So I really think that we have to ensure that we're celebrating not only history, but that we're also working hard to create the social conditions to ensure that Black lives matter today and that they continue to matter. Otherwise, we're just stuck in an archaic place of celebrating, of course, but we got to always think of the future too.
The action, and this is the thing, as someone who is not Black but is an ally and trying to continue to do the work of anti-racism, that we're learning, and we've been learning, that choosing to not be racist is something different than being anti-racist. And so it's been a real movement in my house and even within my family, which is very multicultural. And you brought up kids, Dr. Jill, because we have so many cultures. I think we've got 12 cultures represented in my family. And this is the age where a lot of our kids are actually asking each other really interesting questions. Like, my nieces and nephews, and asking each other and saying, like, your hair is different than my hair. Mommy, you look like this. Your skin color's like this. And, one of my nieces, her dad is from St. Kitts and Nevis. Her mom is Filipina. And she's looking at their skin and starting to ask these really interesting questions at the age of 6 and 7. And so the work it happens on so many fronts. But as an ally, I posted this, I've been talking about this, that it's not just a month. It is really on parents to be carrying the load at home, to be doing the anti-racist work that it requires, so that this generation that we're trying to raise is not going to necessarily just be like, oh my gosh, Kamala's the first. They can actually see themselves doing it themselves.
But it's also on the government as well, too. I mean, that's why we're advocating for a provincial, a provincial strategy to address anti-Black racism, particularly in our schools across the province, because we know that the lack of our histories as Black folks being reflective in curriculum, that has devastating psychological, academic, and social consequences on not only our students, but also the educators and the education workers and the whole climate of the school. So I'm very, very proud to be part of that fight to establish a provincial strategy to address anti-Black racism.
I think it can also happen in other corners, in addition to parents, as Mel was saying, and with educators. I think it also can happen in the media and in the arts community. I love, for example, what Shamir Anderson and Stefan James are doing here in Canada with the establishment of the Black Academy, which is an organization that uplifts Black creatives, but also is a statement against the systemic racism in the entertainment industry. Last week they announced the establishment of an all-Black award show here in Canada. So on the other part of this, then we think about the media and the people, the reporters covering award shows. If Oscars So White, and that is a big award show that, as an entertainment reporter, my field, we cover all the time, then we should be also covering the Black Academy's award show. And also, Nam, to your point, I just want to go back to what you said about Leslyn Lewis and Kamala Harris and the responsibility of people in the media. It is a reminder to even shows like us on the social. We try every day to be anti-racist, to do better, to learn better. But what was our coverage of Leslyn Lewis on our show? Got to be honest. And that's the conversations we have to have. Got to be honest. Probably not a lot. We have talked about Kamala Harris, though. So, Nam, thank you for that. And something that the hosts and our producers will hopefully take note of and move forward in a better way.